everybody for another live session, another Matthew's live session. My husband and I, we are super excited. We have this beautiful surprise for you. Actually, I'll say it's my first time going live. So I'm, super excited to be here with you this Sunday afternoon. We hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful Sunday weekend. And so again, today we'll just, pretty much talk about the beautiful surprise we have for you, and also, kind of discuss how things are going with you and your children at home and school, and also maybe give some tips on how to balance work and school and your children's school schedule. All right, what do you think?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As my wife has said earlier, thank you for joining us. We're really happy to have this opportunity to share with you.
Yes.
And we are going to start. We know what's really going on with so many of us parents in the period of COVID and virtual school, and a lot of us have to balance our work and business because we still have to pay the bills, but we still also have to manage the children's work. Some of us don't have the flexibility of being able to work from home. So sometimes our children are going to school, or maybe a daycare program that is helping with the children's school while you're at work. We also know that some are working from home and they don't have much of a choice but to do the virtual learning and also balance their children's academics. So what we're going to do today is just give you some of the tips, some of them that we're using, and some of them that we have seen other people use successfully, and we just want to share them with you on how you can manage what your children are working through, and also make sure that you are just as effective in your own careers and your jobs as well.
So if you're just watching us right now, if you're just joining us, we want to, just encourage you, ask you to share it. If you're on Facebook, share it on your page, do a watch party, or share it with a friend or with a parent. Please just invite them to this session that we have today. And also we encourage, if you have during the process of the live session, if you have any question, feel free to ask us as well. Okay? So again, we're going to begin with tips on balancing work and your children's schedule. So we're going to speak as Matthew's tutors, and we're also going to speak as parents. My husband and I, we are blessed with 4 beautiful children, and 3 of them are in school. When I say school, like K to 12, pretty much school, and it's been quite interesting, a little bit challenging, I will say, even though we feel like we have it under the belt, but still it could be a little bit challenging. And we would like to share some of those tips with you, how we have been doing it so far. And what do you think?
So the first thing that I think is so important, it's really about having a schedule, having some kind of a structure for the children. What we did with our children is make sure that we actually engage them in creating the schedules that they have. Schedules are difficult also sometimes for some children, because sometimes their days are different from what they expected when the schedules were being created, or when the schedules got created. So what we did with our children is we created a schedule, and we took note of the days they have Zoom classes or whatever it may be. I know some school districts use My Teams for Microsoft. A lot of schools are also using Zoom. So we try to factor all those into their schedules, make sure that if they have because some classes have Zoom days and just days that the students have to learn on their own. So what we've done is we've created that schedule, make sure that they also know when their Zoom sessions are going to be happening, just so that they don't get an absentee, record for. They don't get any absentee record on their grade card or on their report card. So we have to pay attention to that as well.
Yeah, so another thing is to check your emails very often. as parents, make sure check your emails. Your emails are, these days they send a lot of emails. Sometimes it's so overwhelming, but I would like to encourage you to do check those emails, because there are so many important information that the school sent, and this information that will contribute to your child's either test coming up, quiz being graded, or maybe an absent, they mark the child absent, or maybe something that is very important that you as a parent need to respond to. And also even keep, for us, like one of these, like 2 days ago, Anastasia's teacher sent, my daughter, they sent like an email saying that her test, they did not receive one of her quizzes. And knowing that I received so many emails in a day, I almost missed that, but I thank God I was able to check that, because you have Jaden's one coming in, and Anastasia's emails, teachers sending emails, and it could be overwhelming. I know. So, but again, I just want to encourage us parents, please check those emails and respond to them, the one that you need to respond to.
The other thing is, with the emails, let me just shed some light on that. Sometimes you get so many of them because you get an email when this child's grade has been entered, when the child has submitted an assignment. You could also get an email when the child has missed an assignment. So you just want to make sure that you at least know what the email is about. So if there's something you have to take an action on, you can get on it immediately, so that the children don't get discouraged with bad grades and all of that. The one thing that I like to also do is, at the beginning of the day, especially if you have the younger children, maybe in kindergarten or first grade, you want to take a look at I know we use Canvas in our school district. You want to take a look at that and see what the expectations for that child are for that day, so you can at least plan your day within that. When you look at that, you also look at your own calendar. Look at when you have meetings or when you have some free time that you can manage helping the child with the schoolwork. So that's a big deal, because sometimes by the end of the day you're so tired, and then the children don't really want to deal with school after school hours. So when you start at the beginning of the day, it makes it a lot easier to plan the children's schoolwork into your day as well.
Right. And just to add one more thing, there's something I call develop a signal. A signal pretty much is, during the school day, let's say if you have students that are, doing virtual schooling, I pretty much like, I give my children like a signal, making sure that they let me know, because sometimes some days I work from home, my husband as well, and they'll give us a signal that, hey mom, I need, or dad, I need this, I need that. I need to just signal us, and usually what we'll do is find ways to help them. If we cannot help them at that time, we can create time, or we need to send an email to the teachers. Don't, even though the children may not have Zoom classes, the teachers encourage students to still send in their questions. So don't try to figure it out all by yourself. Utilize the teachers. They are available to help. They are always available to help. Even for us that are a tutoring company, we do utilize the teachers to the best of our abilities. So I want to encourage you to do that as well.
Also, at the end of the school day, just make sure you go over what your children were expected to accomplish, and make sure they have them turned in. One of the things that we saw with our son who's in kindergarten, we did not realize that they were so strict about when things would be turned in. And for the first week, even though there were some challenges with the weather, they would not open up the test for him to actually go submit it. Even though the schools were closed, they were not really that gracious about it. So just make sure that you have that. Deadlines are very important. If you need to create a schedule on your calendar to just kind of highlight those deadlines, just do that, so that it makes it a lot easier for you to manage as well.
And just to add, also, let's say if the child takes a quiz or a test and they do not do well, it's okay to ask the teacher if they can have a second attempt, or sometimes even a third attempt. I know most of us parents are aware of this, but do not be shy, or don't hold back. Ask the teacher if they can have another attempt to give them a better chance to score better in that quiz or in that test. And most importantly, do not seek for help. in this case, when I talk about seek or help, could be either after school tutoring at their school, or someone who can help them. We, as a tutoring organization, we provide both free and private sessions to students. From Monday to Thursday, we do have free sessions. We want to encourage parents to take advantage of these free sessions. We have been blessed with this group of engineers we partner with, and they are amazing. They are very versed, not only with their engineering abilities, but they teach these students, and students that have joined, they have gotten help with their assignment, prepare them for tests and things like that. But if you say you don't want to do free session, maybe you want to do something private, we are also available. All you need to do is just contact us, and we will be able to help you with that. I'll show you.
We also have a YouTube channel with lots of videos. I think the last count we have about 450 videos already uploaded. They're going to cover topics from elementary school, and actually there's some college related topics there as well. So take advantage of that. And one of the things we always offer those that interact with us, whether they are customers or those that view us online, is if there's a topic you're going through in school right now and you don't really have it, you don't understand what is going on, just send us a note. We'll be happy to make videos to help supplement what your teacher has taught you. We don't look at it that your teacher is not good or we're better. We just know that sometimes there are different points of views that the students need, and we like to offer a different point of view that may help foster your understanding of that topic.
Correct. And speaking of that, we have a playlist, and this playlist has math topics by course. We have pre-algebra, we have algebra, we have geometry. Pretty much we have all this on the playlist. That is also helpful for parents. I mean, I have a parent the other day who was trying to help the student, and I just sent them a video on fractions, and they were able to watch the video, and they were able to help their child. So again, utilize these resources on our YouTube channel. Just click on playlist, and if you don't know how to do that, just reach out to us. All you need to do is go to the search button, and then type whatever topic you want. If you're a student or a parent or an educator, you need help being able to understand a particular concept, please utilize these resources to be able to help your students. And also, we have a self-paced learning platform, mathskills.com. Mathskills.com is a self-paced learning platform that we created, and it was launched, I believe, the summer of this year fully. And basically, again, all of these has all those resources where you can even study on your own at your own pace. So again, parents, students out there, please, we encourage you to utilize those resources. And if there is something you cannot find, feel free to reach out to us. Even if we don't have it on our page, we'll be able to find it from somewhere to be able to share with you. So again, the ask for help, reach out. It's very important. No, there's no parent, even us here, we don't know it all. So we always reach out for help whenever we need the help. And
the advantage of the mathskills.com site, which is the self-learning site, is also that when you've done watching the videos on the topics, you actually get opportunity to practice with additional questions, so you can actually check if you understood what you have actually watched, or the content or the topics that have been covered.
Right, and we're going to put the link. It's mathskills. Can you put the link?
Mathskills.com.
Yes, so that they can get the link to the self-paced learning platform. Okay, that's the link. And again, we are open for questions. Please feel free to ask any questions you have. And we're about to get into the surprise of the day. So I'm going to let my husband talk about this. I'm super excited. I am excited. I'm excited. Go ahead.
So, over the last 20 years, I've been helping students from all grades, from elementary all the way through college. And there was something I found to be so consistent with all the students I dealt with, and that is their struggle with fractions. And as I've worked with students over this period of time, I've been able to identify the simplest ways to help them understand this topic. In this, in our attempt to make sure that we can make this available for in our attempt to make sure that we can make this available for students all across the globe, not just within our local community or that may have access to our website, we have launched a new book, and that is Fractions Simplified.
Wonderful. So over the years, like my husband mentioned, this book, Fractions Simplified, it's actually everything you need to know on fractions. Everything you need to know on fractions is available on Amazon. And amazingly, I think it was summer of this year when you were working with a college student.
Yes.
And this college student, and not just this college student, even when we work with students in high school in SAT and ACT, you'll be surprised they struggle with some fractions topic, basic foundational topic. Why is this fraction so important? If we even use it in our daily lives. I see sometimes when people use the word 1/3 of this, 1/4 or 2/5, sometimes it's being used wrongly. But again, how do we, it's important to understand what you're saying when it comes to fractions. But again, for your students, fraction is a very, very foundational topic whereby if you don't get it at that, at that elementary age or that middle school age, you may not be able to go through a lot of other topics, algebra, calculus. This was a calculus student in college, was not able to do a fraction problem. So we realized that it's something that we, and like I said, other students as well. And then we have to go back and start teaching that topic. Now, there's nothing wrong in going back to teaching it, but then why don't, why it's important to just get it while the student is at that stage, and sometimes one of the majority of the time, what we have noticed is the fact that the student probably had a rough, I would say, the concept was not explained to them clearly. And my husband, sometimes once he just explained that particular, he has this approach that he has been able to work with students with, and it worked out so well. And I remember one of his students, he was like, "Uncle, why don't you put this in a video or a textbook?" And pretty much all of that really inspired us to do to put this book together. And I want to encourage you to check this book out for your students, for your even older students. It's a good revision resource for them, because like I said, there's in everything, in every math course, even in chemistry, in physics, you will find fractions. In so many things, in statistics, you will find fractions. So it's important to understand this concept.
The other idea behind it is to make sure that when you have this book, it doesn't matter what grade you're in, it's going to cover everything from what are fractions all the way to walking through what problems with fractions. And, as my wife was speaking about how we use fractions in our daily life, I think about when, our children are learning to cook and they have recipe books. And it says, what about get half a cup of milk when you're trying to bake something?
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not sure how do I know what half a cup is? But when we introduce them to fractions, we realize that you can apply fractions in every area of your life and every area of what it means to even just deal with whatever it means to just exist, The one I remember a few months ago, I was doing something with the children, and it was mostly questions about, somebody coming to give you some money and somebody got a fraction of the money and the others got the other fraction. And I mean, it really made me realize that fractions is something that we need to make sure that our children get so comfortable with that it doesn't really terrify them. I mean, I am talking about some of the students I've worked with, once they see fractions, they almost get terrified. And this book is to help them get over that. We want them to be successful, and we know that once you get to about 4th grade, you are going to deal with fractions until you stop learning math in any academic institution. So we want this fraction book to be something that the students can take with them to college. We want them to be able to take it to them wherever they may be, even if it's in their workplaces. We want them to find this as a valuable resource for them, and we've put in a lot of work. It's available on Amazon globally, whether you're in the United States or you're in you're in Canada, this book is going to be available to you wherever you may live. So we look forward to you asking us questions. If there are questions that you have after purchasing the book, just let us know. We'll be glad to answer and address any questions or concerns you may have. We're here to serve you, and we hope that you'll take advantage of that.
I was trying to see if I can actually let's share the link, the Amazon link, so that they can have access to it directly.
Okay, we'll share the link. We'll put it on our YouTube channel as well.
Right. So we're open for questions. Okay. I believe Esther is there. If Esther is there, you're watching. I know Esther has some questions for homework. So we should be able to help you, Esther, as well. You can ask any questions if it's, on any of the things we've talked about today, or anything educational that's educationally related, you can ask as well. So you have the link right there. That's the link to the book, and it's just $16.97. In case you're wondering what the price of the book is, it's actually just $16.97 for the paperback. For the Kindle version, I believe it's $9.97 for the Kindle version. So again, it has everything. It has questions. It has solution guide at the towards the end, and also, like I said, it has everything that we've explained to students throughout the years that have benefited them. You will find them in that book.
The structure of the book is such that you have an opportunity we introduce every topic, and then right after that we show you the steps that we find to be the simplest steps you can find to solve that type of topic. Then we have an example following those steps, and then right after that we have a set of practice problems that show you those steps and how they allow you to actually try out those steps on your own. And then we have something called the independent practice or free response. We want this to be, it's a workbook. It takes a workbook format, because we know with math is learning by repetition.
Yes.
And so we just put a lot of that thought process into making sure that this book, when you are done with this book, you shouldn't, whenever you see fractions, you should just gravitate to fractions. Correct. It should not be something that you're apprehensive about or you're scared of. So that's really, that is the spirit behind this book. And so give it a try and let us know if there are areas that maybe you're dealing with in school that may not be covered. It's possible. We're always ready to make additions and revisions to the book so that it meets all your needs. Are there any questions for us?
Please feel free. Even if you have, if it's a student that's watching, you have a math question, you have a homework, I'm sure we'll be able to help you as well. Thank you, Iya, for that information. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
What inspired your love for math? To answer that question.
That's a question I've tried to answer quite a few times. I think as I was growing up, one of the things that I found math to be very intriguing. It was more like a puzzle to me, and I can remember several times, as a maybe second, third grader, I remember in first grade I struggled a whole lot with math. Most of my friends that know me from like much earlier in my years will be surprised that I've done this well with math. And, for me, it's been a gift. I think it's also, there's a part of it that is a talent. And so I'm actually grateful to God for it, because It's more of a talent for me, and as I have walked through it, I realized that it just comes to me very naturally. So I cannot take a lot of credit for all that I do with math, but math to me is a puzzle. And when I think about math, I think about building a house, and I always find that if I can logically organize my thought processes, I can always look at it as if I build a good foundation, I can build a good first floor and then a good second floor and so on and so forth. So those are the things that really drive the way I look at math, and the passion for math has just really been seeing the one thing that I'm really passionate about is seeing students overcome that hurdle, because a lot of students struggle with it, not because they're not intelligent, but sometimes it's because someone has scared them about the topic, or they've had teachers that have not been as helpful to them. So we want to be that additional help for them.
Correct.
Any other questions?
So for me, math is one of those topic I realize, it applies to every aspect of life. It applies to every aspect of life, even in music, even in nowadays, there's a lot of statistics in everything we do, So I just embrace the moment. You don't have to. I know people in the year might start thinking of calculus. You don't have to think that far. As basic as fractions is mathematics. Once you're dealing with numbers, you're dealing with some form of math. So math, it doesn't have to go to that extent. If you the basic, whatever level you are involved in, is mathematics. So I want to encourage, parents, students, look at it from a positive perspective. Look at it as something that you apply in your daily life. You don't have to be an academic or a teacher or you don't have to be use it at that higher level, but even at whatever basic level you need it at, make sure you gain the knowledge enough to use it at that level. At work, sometimes things come to me, so I do things so easily because, be able to, utilize, of course, with math. If you know how to solve problems, problem-solving skills, if you are inclined in math, your problem-solving skills is even much better. So, I just want to encourage everybody to look at this as more of a daily life experience, not just math as we all perceive it to be.
The other great thing about math, I tell my students all the time, they don't like to hear it often, is that the math is the one subject that you can take a lot of different paths to the same place. And so if there's a method you prefer, like some of my students, I teach them 4 different methods, and I tell them, I'm going to show you 4 different ways to do this, and let's talk about the one that you like the most, so that we can refine that method for you and make sure that you can consistently use it. And I found that has always worked for students, and they've become better using that. So that's the one thing. Math is the one subject that has lots of different paths to your destination. That's one of the things I like about it. If you're the kind of person that is adventurous, math is your subject. Give it a try.
And I just want to also mention that we don't only tutor math, we tutor science. I work with a student on a 7th grader. We work on science as well. So if you're a student, your child, your niece, your nephew need help with science, please feel free. English, we also hire different tutors. We don't just do this ourselves. We have English tutors that also work with us. English, I would say pretty much ELA, English and reading. So if you have a student that need help with English and reading as well, please feel free to contact us at info@mathease.com, or just visit our website at mathease.com and fill out our registration form, or like I said, we will see our phone number right there. Just call us, within any day, and we'll be excited and happy to work with your student. And another thing we do is test prep. As a matter of fact, we are launching a new program starting this Saturday, October 17. You forgot about the test
Oh,
prep. So
Just finished
ACT
one
and
this week.
SAT is we just finished one of the programs this past week, and we're about to start another program. I know there was this confusion whether schools are going to be doing ACT or SAT. Yes, they are. As a matter of fact, ACT is now being taken, I believe, every week or so.
Every Saturday, and
Every
I think
Saturday.
one Sunday in October.
Correct.
October
So
25th or so.
again, I've posted the link before on our page. If you to be able to register for this course, but if you just need to know what dates they are launching this exam, we also have that link on our page, and I'll also post it as well on one of these pages so that you can get check the date and be able to register your student. We always encourage parents to encourage students as well to start it early, even 9th grade, 8th grade. Why? Because it takes off that pressure. By the time you're in 12th grade, you're done with that, and it puts you at a better position of getting more scholarships. There are always those grants available, but some things like ACT and SAT put you on an added advantage. It's always a good thing. So I'll say, why not take advantage of it, and get the best score that and get the desired I would say get to your desired school of your choice. Do you have anything to add on the ACT?
Yeah, the ACT is it's a very interesting kind of exam because it's not. We've had students that are really good academically but struggle with the ACT or SAT because there's a different way of thinking about the questions that are presented in those exams. So what we try to do is we try to help the students make it, create that difference between their school exams and the SAT and the ACT. So we do a lot of practice exams, practice questions throughout the sessions. And so for this upcoming session is going to be focused heavily on those that are going to be taking it towards the end of the year. And so we're going to do a lot of practice problems throughout our sessions together, and we found that this actually helps the students get better prepared for these exams.
Right. So again, we are here. We are available. Don't forget the free session. As a matter of fact, we have one tomorrow for 3rd and 4th graders. It's from 4:30 to 5:30, and then for the 5th and 6th graders, it's from 3:30 to 4:30. So please, we encourage you to just send us an email, and we'll send you the Zoom link if you want to join through Zoom. We have we'll make it available for you. And on Tuesdays is for 1st graders and 2nd graders, and then Wednesdays, 7th and 8th graders, and Thursdays is more for high school students. So again, we encourage parents, don't feel burdened and do all this by yourself. Seek the help that's available for you, and make life easy.
Just something important to highlight about the free sessions is it's on Zoom. The difference between the free sessions and some of what we have with the live streaming is that when it's on Zoom, the students have direct access to the tutors and they can ask questions, in real time instead of having to deal with the delay of live streaming or of streaming online. So we found that students feel they have a more intimate experience with that approach as well. And all our private sessions are also on Zoom. So we want to make sure that students have that connection to whoever is providing them those tutoring sessions.
Right. So with that said, if there's no more questions, I don't know if Esther is still there. Esther, are you there? I know you're going to help Esther with her math assignments.
Yes. She has some questions, and we're going to, typically we come on Sundays, we're coming to help students with questions they may have from their homework or topics they learned during the past week that they did not understand to prepare them for the next school week. So Esther has some questions, and we're going to be working on those right after presentation on the book.
Okay. So again, if you have any math questions or even if it's science questions, feel free to ask us. Feel free to reach out to us even after this live session. We have our contact right there, info@mathis.com. Feel free to contact us anytime, and we'll be happy and excited to answer whatever questions you may have. So I'm sure you have some more questions. So we do this every Sunday. Most Sundays we have these live sessions where we either go in to talk about, topics that may help parents or educators and students as well, and even help students solve whatever questions or whatever topic they have any struggle with. All right, we're gonna take a brief break, and when we're back, we will be able to work with Esther on her topic.
All right, thank you all for your time, and thank you for joining us. And we ask you to stay tuned as we continue the math session, the math content session of this live stream.
All right. So we are still open for questions. Please feel free. Don't be shy. Feel free to ask whatever questions that you may have.
All right. So we're going to be working on some math problems, and I'm going to focus on the problems that were sent by the students today. And so a lot of the topics that we're going to be working on today have to do with complex numbers and imaginary numbers. If you have any other topics that you would like for me to take a look at in these last few minutes of our live stream, please let me know so that I can help you answer those. As I said earlier, we want to make sure that as you're preparing for your next week, you do not leave any stones unturned. So if there are any topics that you left school with on Friday that maybe over the weekend you studied hard and you still couldn't figure it out, we want to make sure that you have an opportunity at least to address those questions before you get into your new school week, especially if you're having tests. We want to make sure that you feel prepared for those tests. So we'll go ahead and start with our first question. And the first question is to simplify the square root of negative 121. So we have to remember that normally, if you put this on your calculator, you should get something that says error, because the calculator there is really no way to get a real number from a negative number inside of the square root symbol. So what we're going to do here is we're going to rewrite negative 121 as negative 1 multiplied by positive 121. And so this is going to be a square root here and a square root here. So the square root of negative 1 is I, and the square root of 121, how do we do that? 121, it's 11 multiplied by 11, so there's just one pair here. So it's I multiplied by 11, which is going to give us 11I. So therefore, the square root of negative 121 is 11I. So that's really all you have to do for that question. The second question that we have here is simplify 2 divided by 2 plus 5I. So generally in math, whenever you have a fraction, you want your denominator to be a rational number. You also want it to be a whole number for the most part. You cannot have square root. You shouldn't have square root symbols or i's or any other variables that are irrational or do not give you a whole number. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look for a way to rationalize this complex number, or rationalize this fraction that has a complex denominator. And what we're going to do for that is to find out the conjugate. That's a very important term, the conjugate of the denominator. So the conjugate is that number or that expression that if we multiply by the denominator, we end up with a number. It could be a positive number or a negative number. So when you're dealing with conjugates, if you have your complex number in the right form, which is a plus bi, your conjugate is going to be something that looks like this, a minus bi. Because the reason you do that is you want to always remember that a plus b multiplied by a minus b is going to be a squared minus b squared. So that will give us a chance to get rid of this I. So let's apply that to what we're doing right now. So our conjugate in this case is going to be a minus bi, which is 2 minus 5i. So now we're going to multiply. So now that we have that, we have 2 over 2 plus 5i. What we're going to do is we're going to multiply by a number where the conjugate is both the numerator and the denominator. So that is going to be multiplied by 2 minus 5i over 2 minus 5i. What I want you to remember here also is that if you look at this expression by itself, 2 minus 5i divided by 2 minus 5i is going to give us 1. So in other words, we're multiplying this original expression by 1, but we wrote the 1 in a different form. So this is going to give us 2 multiplied by 2 minus 5i divided by 2 plus 5i multiplied by 2 minus 5i. Now we can do a few things here. One of the things we can do here is, for the numerator, that's pretty simple. We're going to distribute the number outside into the terms inside of the parentheses. So we're going to do that. So it's going to be 2 multiplied by 2, which is 4. 2 multiplied by negative 5i is negative 10i. So that is that. And then for the denominator, we can either FOIL this or we can apply this right here. Can you see that this is a plus b, a minus b? So this is going to give us a squared minus b squared is 5i squared. So this is going to give us 4 minus 10i divided by 4 minus 25i squared. So let's review something quickly. If square root of negative 1 is equal to I, therefore I squared is going to be square root of negative 1 squared, and I squared is going to be negative 1. So now we are going to have a different value here, which is 4 minus 10i divided by 4 minus 25. I squared is negative 1, so we're going to multiply negative 25 by negative 1, which is 4 minus 10i divided by 4 plus 25, which is 4 minus 10i divided by 29. So that's how you would work through a problem like this when you're trying to rationalize a complex number. This is one of the, maybe I'll say this is one of the more introductory type of questions. You may have questions where you have a complex number in your numerator and a complex number also in your denominator. You will do exactly the same thing. All right, so let's go for another. Are there any questions? Are there any questions so far on this? Are there any questions on this topic so far? Because we have one final question that was sent in that we're going to walk through. Are there any questions so far? Okay, so the next question here is simplify I to the power of 41. I to the power of 41. I to the power of 41. So what we're going to do here is take note of a few things. We're going to take note of a few things here. We have I to the power of 41. Let's look at I to the power of 1 is I to the power of 2 is negative 1, as I showed you earlier. I to the power of 3 is negative 1 multiplied by I, which is negative I. And then I to the power of 4 is going to be I squared to the power of 2, which is negative 1 squared, and that is going to be 1. So now let's look at different ways of writing I to the power of 41. Don't forget, when you're dealing with exponents, if I have a to the power of b multiplied by a to the power of c, this is going to give me a to the power of b plus c. And if I have a to the power of b all to the power of c, I'm going to get a to the power of b multiplied by c. So what I always like to do when I have this type of problems is I'm going to focus on I to the power of 4, because that's always going to give me 1. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to divide 41 by 4, which is going to give me 10. So this is going to give me I to the power of 4 to the power of 10. So that's going to give me 44 multiplied by 10, which is 40. But I need 41, so I'm going to multiply by I to the power of 1. So this is another way of writing I to the power of 41. So this is I to the power of 40 multiplied by I to the power of 1. I to the power of 4 is 1. So this is 1 multiplied by 10 multiplied by I. 1 to the power of 10, sorry, multiplied by I, which is 1 multiplied by I, and that is going to give you I. So the value of I to the power of 41 is going to be I. This type of question actually shows up on exams like your SAT and most likely your ACT. I know the ACT loves this type of questions. And you may have a question that is something ridiculous like I to the power of 759. Don't fall into the temptation of trying to multiply I 759 times. You will never finish that test. The idea here is to always focus on I to the power of 4, and then you're going to divide 759 by 4. If you divide 759 by 4, you're going to have 1, this is 4, 35, we have 8, this is 32, and then we have 39, so this is 9, 36, then you have a remainder of 3. So this is I to the power of 4 to the power of 189 multiplied by I to the power of 3. And so this is going to give you 1 multiplied by I to the power of 3, which is going to give you negative I. So that is really how you solve problems like this. Are there any questions? Are there any questions that you would like for me to answer before we end the session? Okay, so let's do a question on fractions. Let's do a question on fractions. I'm going to teach you all a simple trick that I'm going to teach you something that is unique about fractions. One of the things that I discovered working with a student, probably quite lately, and I want to show you how to check. I know for some of your schools, you may not be able to do fractions like this, but I'm going to show you a way to check your addition and subtraction of fractions to see if you did it right. So let's go with something simple. I'm going to use fractions that have different denominators. So I'm going to show. Let's write an example, and then I'll show you how to apply that example to solve problems. So this is going to be one of these types of examples that you would see in the fraction workbook, the fraction simplified workbook. So I'm going to write something like 2/3 plus 4/7. So I know normally in our world of fractions, we want to go ahead and find a common denominator, and then we want to write each of the fractions with this new denominator. But let me show you a method that you can actually use every time to check if you've done your addition properly. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw an arrow here. This is, I call it the cross multiply. And I'm going to draw an arrow over here, and I'm going to draw an arrow this way. So this is what it's going to give us. I'm going to multiply 7 by 2, and that's going to give me 14. 4 multiplied by 3, that's going to give me 12. And then 3 multiplied by 7, that is going to give me 21. So this is going to give me 26/21. See how simple that is? That is a method that you can always use. Even if you have mixed numbers, all you have to do is convert the mixed number to an improper fraction and do this. Let's do an example. 3.5 plus 6/8/9. Let me just use something that is going to be complicated. So let's do this one, and then I'll give you one more to try so I can show you how to do the mixed numbers. So 3.5, this is one of the first few topics you'll see in the book, how to convert your mixed numbers to improper fractions, and also how to convert back from improper fractions to mixed numbers. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have 3 multiplied by 2, 6 plus 1, 7/2, plus 6 multiplied by 9, 54 plus 8, 62/9. And we're going to apply the same method. I'm going to go ahead and do this and do that, and then I'm going to do this. You notice the arrow is going up, which means that it's going to be in the numerator. So the arrow also going up is going to be in the numerator, and the arrow going left to right is showing you that it's going to stay in the denominator. So this is going to be 9 multiplied by 7 plus 62 multiplied by 2 divided by 2 multiplied by 9. So this is going to be 63 plus 124 divided by 18. So this is going to give us 187 divided by 18. Now you can go back and convert this to, you can go back and actually convert this to a mixed number, which is one of the topics you'll see in the book as well. 187 divided by 18. And so you're going to have 1, this is 18, 7, we're going to have 0, and then you have remainder 7. So this is going to give you 10, 7 over 18. So this is a lot faster, is a lot quicker than having to, do all the other methods that are available. So this is one that I'll say is a great way to check your answer to make sure your answer is correct. So now that I've shown you this, I want you to see if you can apply that same method to solve a problem like this. 6 over 11 plus 2 over 3. Oh, maybe not 2 over 3. It seems like I'm using that too much. Let's go with 7 over 8. 6 over 11 plus 7 over 8. I'm going to give you a few minutes to try, and I'll show you exactly how to apply it once the time is once I think you've had enough time to try this out. And I'm going to give you another one with a mixed number. Let's go with 2 over 5 plus 3 1 over 6. I'll do this as question A, and this is question B. So let's try to answer this too. And if you have the answer, feel free to just send it in the chat. If you're on Facebook, you can send it in the Facebook chat as well. I'll take a look at that. If you're on YouTube, feel free to do that as well. Anybody have the answer to this one? Let's check. So far on YouTube, I don't see any responses. So let's see what's happening on Facebook. Don't be intimidated. It doesn't matter if you get it right. We just want to at least make sure that you can see different approaches to solve problems. Okay, let's try to answer the first one together, and maybe that will give you some inspiration to do the second one. So let's go with the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my arrows. Let's use the black one. Draw arrows up here and then draw the arrow this way. So we're going to have 6 multiplied by 8 plus 7 multiplied by 11 divided by 11 multiplied by 8. So this is going to give us 48 plus 77 divided by 88. So this is 125 divided by 88. We can leave our answer in that form, or we can convert it to a mixed number. Whichever way you want to go about it is fine. But you want to make sure that you're actually expressing the answer as maybe your teacher expects or as the question recommends. So some questions may say, express this in the simplest form and convert it to a mixed number. If it says that, then you have to take the extra step of converting to a mixed number. So 125 divided by 88. So we're going to have one group of 88 and 125. We subtract. Here is going to be 7. This is 37. So this is going to be one whole number, 37/88. And then the second one, we're going to first convert it to, for us to be able to apply this technique here, we're going to first convert it to a mixed number, to an improper fraction. We're going to convert the mixed number to an improper fraction. So 2 multiplied by 5, 10 plus 2, we have 12/5, plus 3 multiplied by 6, 18 plus 1, 19/6. And let's go ahead and draw our arrows. So we got this one going this way, this one going this way, and then this way. So we have 12 multiplied by 6 plus 19 multiplied by 5 divided by 5 multiplied by 6. So this is going to be 72 plus 95 divided by 30. This is going to give us 167 divided by 30. Because the question came as mixed numbers, what we're going to do is go ahead and actually convert this improper fraction to a mixed number. So we have 167 divided by 30. How many groups of 30 in 167? We're going to have 5. 5 multiplied by 30, we have 150. And we have a remainder of 17. So this is going to be the same as 5, 17/30. The good thing about this method is you can, when you finish solving, you can actually see if you need to reduce the fraction further, and you can do that as well. But whenever you have fractions, make sure that your answer is expressed in the simplest form possible. In the simplest form. You wouldn't want something like 28/30 in your answer. You have to reduce that to 14/15. So just pay attention to that, because a lot of times as you prepare for standardized tests like the SAT, the ACT, those are the type of things that you want to pay attention to. You want to make sure that you're not caught napping when it comes to that part of your fraction, because there are instances where you have to express your fraction as a free response, and if you do not have it in the reduced form, even if your answer looks right, it will be marked wrong because you did not express it in the most simplified form. So are there any questions? Are there any questions that you'd like for me to answer? It doesn't have to be fractions or anything we've done so far. If there's something you need some help with before you get back to school this week, do let me know and I'll be glad to help you answer those questions. Otherwise, I want to thank you all for your time. Thank you for joining us today for our special announcement, and also for listening to some of our tips that we've been applying, and we've also seen parents maybe ask us questions about on how to balance, how to balance working your regular day job and also supporting your children as they work their own regular day jobs, because I look at school for them as their own day job. So we thank you for listening to us, just some of the ideas that we have and some of the things that we've tried to do. A lot of us are learning we're learning on the go. This is not something that we're all used to doing. So we're always, eager to share what we've discovered, and we're also eager to learn from others. Something that has worked that we may not have thought of or we may not have tried. We'll be glad to, hear what others have said or what others are trying, and also encourage you to check out the Fraction Simplified textbook. It's a workbook. So it's going to help you with everything that you need to know about fractions, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, how to answer word problems, how to convert from one form to the other, the different types of fractions. So those are going to be all part of what you will find in the workbook. And we look forward to hearing some feedback. If you get the book, please feel free to leave us a review on Amazon.com. So we can take that feedback as we continue to look for ways to revise the book. So we really look forward to you. Getting that book, and share the information with some friends. I know some of my students are already talking about sharing with their schoolmates, because they know that a lot of their schoolmates are struggling with fractions, and since I've been working with them, they've overcome their struggles. and some of them they don't want to watch the video. Sometimes they want a book that shows them exactly how to do it, and so this book is going to be perfect for that. So feel free to, we encourage you actually to purchase it so that you can help your children overcome their struggles. And I know sometimes parents don't like to admit it, or maybe they struggle with fractions in when they were in school, and maybe they've told their children that they were the best student ever. But you know what? This is one way to tell your children, hey, you know what? This is the kind of resource I used as a child, and I'm trying to make the same available to you. So I look forward to hearing your feedback. I'll be going over to Amazon to check your feedback on the book, and whatever feedback you give to us, we're really appreciative of that, because we'll use that to continue to improve. We are actually developing a Math Simplified series of books, and we're going to be working on some other titles coming up, and we'll let you know when those titles are available. So thank you again. Enjoy your Sunday. Subscribe to our channel. Before I leave, subscribe to our channel. When you subscribe to our channel, you will know when we're going live. You'll also know when we post new videos or any kind of communication we may have. We also, on our channel, we have a forum where you can actually dialogue with us directly, and we'll be glad to hear from you. We are always glad to hear from students, parents, or just viewers that are curious about what we're about. We are very transparent about what we do and what we hope to accomplish. And before I end this session, I want to let you all know that our goal this year is to help 5,000 students improve their grades. As you were told earlier, we don't just do only math. We also have science. We've also hired tutors that can help our students with their reading and their grammar, all of that stuff. We want to make sure we can meet your needs in every way possible. And if you just need to get some tips on, my child is struggling in this area, we want you to kind of give us some ideas on how we can help the child overcome, or even as parents, what are some of the things we can do to help the child overcome these hurdles. We're here for you, and we are very thankful to God for giving us the opportunity to serve you, and also we hope we can serve more people. So thank you again. Have a blessed Sunday. Have a great Sunday, and we look forward to hanging out with you again next week. Enjoy the week and be blessed.